Welcome to my channel. In this video, you are going to learn what is theoretical framework for GIS. So here you are going to learn how real world data is transformed and held as a model of that data, and how different types of transformations the data is subject to in conventional map making process as well as in GIS. And also I am going to explain a small example that explains theoretical framework of GIS and how different transformations take place in GIS. So when we are working in a GIS, our objective is to convert spatial data into spatial information. During this process of converting data into information, the data will be subjected to different types of transformations. And at the final stage, that real world data will be held as a model of the real world data. Like if I'm talking about a soil map is a model of real world data, that is soil. In real world, soil is there, and the data about that soil will be held as a model in the format of a map. So these maps can be in two types, that is like paper maps, and another one is in digital environment, that is your digital maps. So in conventional map making process, the data will be subject to different types of transformations, as well as in your GIS also the data will be subject to different types of transformations. So these transformations I am going to explain in this video, which forms a theoretical basis for any data in GIS. However, you should understand that this discussion of theoretical framework is not related to any specific software. That means you're trying to convert real world data into information in any one of the softwares like Quantum GIS, ArcGIS, or ILVIS. The software doesn't matter when I'm talking about theoretical framework. The general approach which we must follow in converting data into information is same irrespective of all the softwares. And also you should understand this theoretical framework is nothing but a model of how different processes will take place in digital GIS environment while we convert spatial data into spatial information. So overall, your theoretical framework is nothing but a simple process of converting data into information. And also, this theoretical framework is not related to any specific dataset like raster format or vector format or tin format. So irrespective of what type of datasets you are using, this theoretical framework will remain same and intact. If you are trying to create a soil map, so whether you take Quantum JS software or you take ArcGIS software, the approach should be same. That approach will be given by this theoretical framework. And also whether you are working with vector type of datasets or you are working with raster type of datasets, the approach is not going to alter. Hence, the theoretical framework will remain as it is whenever I am discussing about it in your GIS environment. So next, when we are talking about normal information systems, many of the information systems have the capability to transform the data from one format to another format. But it will be called, that means this information system will be called as a GIS only when it has the capability to transform spatial data into spatial information. That means only those software or those information systems which have the capacity for inputting, manipulating, and outputting the digital spatial data in some format are considered as your geographical information systems. Next, the geographical information systems approach of transforming data into information is based on cartographic principles. So you are preparing maps. in normal procedures. Like if you are trying to create a map in physical manner, so the principles which you will follow are almost same in GIS also. The process and the approach which we follow while producing a conventional map are almost similar in your GIS environment also. Coming to the cartographic principles, so cartography or cartographers provide the understanding of relationships between the real world and map as a model. So whether you should use orthographic projections or conical projections, or what type of scale you should use, how to depict a particular object, these type of details are given by cartography. The principles are given by the cartography only. So it establishes relationships between the real world objects and the maps. That means the papers or the drawings which you are producing. The relationships between the real world objects and the drawings are held as models by the cartographic principles. And your entire JS approach is based upon such principles only. So your JS approach of transforming the data is based upon cartographic principles. And these relationships helps us in understanding various transformations that real world data takes place to become a map. So coming to the analog map production, analog map in the sense here, it is a paper map. So when you are trying to produce a paper map, there are different types of transformations that real world data will be subjected to. So here if you observe this picture, real world data to raw data to map, map to map image, the transformations will happen in this fashion. So in the real world, all objects will be there, like your water bodies, vegetation, like that, all objects will be there. But if your interest is to prepare a soil map, you will collect data only about soil. So through data collection, the real world data will be converted into raw data which contains details about only soil. So from this raw data, you are going to prepare a map. For this, you are going to input all these collected details about the soil in a model like orthographic projection model or conical projection model, like some physical map making process. This process I am calling it as model. In this process, you are going to put all your collected details so that a simple map will be produced at the end of transformation T2. So let me remind you, at the end of transformation T1, raw data will be produced from the real world data, and this raw data will contain details of only your area of interest. And after transformation T2, a small map will be produced, and to make it in user defined format, we might be interested in assigning scales, or you might be interested in assigning latitude, longitude, grids, things like that, and you might be interested in labeling also. So this is the transformation T3, after which your final map will be produced in the analog format. So these are all the different types of transformations that happen while we are trying to create an analog map. Next, the significance of these transformations is that they control how much amount of information should be transmitted from one stage to the next. That means here in the previous image, if you observe from the real world data to raw data, of all objects, only soil data has been transferred to the second stage. That means this transformation allows us to control the amount of information that is passing from one stage to the another stage. The cartographer's task is to devise the best transformations so that at the end of your all transformations, minimum amount of information will be lost. That means if your objective is to prepare a soil map, the details about soil should be present in your soil map. If you don't devise these transformations properly, the details which are present in your map will be incorrect, or very less amount of details will be there at the end. So in GIS, the approach is extended to convert the paper map into a digital map. So in GIS, the approach is extended to convert the paper map into digital map. In the context of GIS, an additional transformation stage which sits entirely within the GIS is added. So here in GIS, you will be having an additional transformation stage, and this stage is completely internal to the GIS. So in the first transformation, data are selected from the real world, as for example surveying measurements or census data. These are then input for the GIS in some format. And within the system, a vast range of manipulation processes and operations are available, which are useful for performing the transformation number T3. And these may be communicated as tabulated or graphical images by means of a hard copy or screen, that means transformation T4. So let us consider all these transformations in a simple picture so that we can understand easily. So here in real world we have all objects. So here in real world we have the all objects like trees, within trees, water bodies, like that all objects we are having. But if your interest is to prepare a soil map, you will collect details only about soil. That means raw data will be prepared, and this raw data will contain details about only soil. Hence transformation T1 took place. This transformation T1 has happened. So this transformation T1 happened because of data collection from the real world. Next, from this raw data, you are going to this raw data you are going to input in GIS. So in GIS we'll be working with raster or vector models. So whatever details we have collected, we will be representing them either vector or raster. Vector or raster, like that the details will be represented. That means you are using a data model for representing this raw data. So this is called as data input. So second type of transformation T2 has taken place. So on this vector or raster datasets, you are going to run different type of operations like intersection, union, buffering, like that. Depending upon your requirement, this data model will be subject to different types of analysis and operations, and the data will be transformed and the results will be generated. These results will be compiled and made as a record or as an image for displaying it to the user. This is what we call test transformation T4, and the analysis and operations, those are called as transformation T3. So these are all different types of transformations that take place in a GIS, and this transformation T3 is completely internal to the GIS because you require GIS environment for performing all this manipulation and analysis. Next, each of these transformation stages may actually involve several physical operations on the data. T1 may involve both collection and aggregation, and T3 will almost and always consist of a whole series of data processing operations. And if the thematic and spatial characteristics are to be understood, it is necessary for us to carefully consider the way in which these transformations are taking place. The concept and understanding of the above mentioned transforms forms the theoretical framework of GIS. So, how these transformations are taking place, it is very important to understand these things in order to understand what is theoretical framework of GIS. The understanding of GIS data manipulation and obtaining information from real world data using a GIS model is based on the understanding of theoretical framework, which forms the basis of GIS modeling the real world. Thank you.